So we are trying to change the wheel bearing here. We've gotten the rotor off, the wheel off, obviously. This is the assembly, and we have the bearing up there. And so we're trying to get this off, and we couldn't get it off. So we're trying it with a impact gun now that we just rented for a couple bucks. So we'll see how that goes. So the impact gun does absolutely nothing. And we're soaking it with liquid wrench. As you can see, we have a log and a piece of cement as an axle stand. Don't worry, we have a jack there that's holding it up. That's just security. Backward. It's not doing anything. Want to just grab this wrench and whack it with a hammer? That's pretty much the only thing we have that we can do now. Nope, doesn't seem to be doing anything either. We're now looking behind assembly just to check to see that there's no bolts holding in the wheel bearing. Even though that wouldn't be preventing us to take out the major bolt. So the impact gun, too weak to get our bolt out because it's electric, so we might have to go with an air compressor one. And if that doesn't help, then I have no idea what we're gonna do. We're putting the little ABS sensor disc thing back in because we unscrewed that to see if that would help us get some leverage, but no. It's just a massive pain right now, but we'll get it soon, sooner or later. So there's been a lot of problems. For one, we couldn't get the wheel bearing out because we couldn't get that big bolt off. And apparently after you get that bearing out, there's so much more you have to do in order to get the bearing out. And we just don't have the tools or the time to do it. So we're going to get a shop to do it. And we were trying, we got the brake and everything back on. The caliper would not go on because when we were trying to get this bolt off, my dad tried to leverage it on these bolts with a crowbar, and that moved the bolts and stripped part of it. So we couldn't get the caliper on. We had to hit these with a hammer until they were aligned well. And you can't see it, but the caliper is touching the rotor, which that should get fixed by a couple pumps of the brakes. But we can't get the wheel on now because these are really stripped, the bolts now, just from getting whacked by a hammer. Yeah, we can only get 3 lugs in, and it's off the jack right now. So we're going to try and take it into a shop with 3 lugs and get the wheel bearing replaced. And with the wheel bearing getting replaced, it'll replace all these bolts. And yeah, we should be good after that. It just sucks that we have to pay for it. But this is a job that we could not do. We did not have the right tools. So, and we were going to put the new trunk on, but we didn't, so. And this car still is not registered, still has not passed emissions. That's the legacy for now. Things are looking down. Hopefully we can get it into a good shape here soon. I still don't have my license. I have no idea when I'm going to get that. Probably sometime in January, I hope. David just got his license today, and he's been driving around, so that's pretty cool. Oh, we've got the Legacy out there. You can't really see it, I don't think. You might be able to see it, but it's out there parallel parked. We managed to get 4 lugs into it, and I drove it around the block to see if the brakes worked and if the wheel was holding fine. We're going to drive around with 4 lugs and get it to a shop where we can get a new wheel bearing. And all the, bolts that come out to attach to the wheel are actually part of the wheel bearing housing. So when that gets replaced, we won't have to worry about stripped bolts anymore. I got this drone for Christmas, so we might use that in some videos. It records in 720p, and it's not very good recording, and the controls aren't very good, but I don't understand. Why do they have to make it an app to fly? Why can't they just include the controller? It sucks to fly this thing. It just has a mind of its own, at least this one that I have right now. What else? I'm editing this video right now, actually. Got a nice new pair of headphones. Logitech G230s. I highly recommend those. They're pretty good. They're a little uncomfortable, but I wear a beanie when I use them, so it doesn't really matter. So, also there's a cool little 240 out here with 3.5 inch exhaust, I think. It sounded pretty good. So, it's parked a little bit in the middle of the street, but... I talked with my dad. We're going to get the bearing done soon enough. He has some surgery to go through, so we're going to get a shop to do the bearing. And we're going to do all 4 brakes, rotors and pads, hopefully, because those are pretty easy. I realized how easy to get rotors and pads off are when we were doing this. It took like 5 minutes to get them off, and we could get them back on it. Me and David could do that easily. He's not going to be really able to help us other than watching us because he's having some back surgery, my dad. But, we're hoping by April. I know I said that by Christmas we should have it. We were going to try and get it painted, and we haven't done anything. But we're hoping, hopefully by April, that we will have the Legacy either prepped for paint or completely painted. We're going to start prepping once it starts to thaw out in January, because it's super cold right now. Like, it's like 12 degrees out, and we were working on the car, and I was freezing to death. What else? Yeah, as I said in the last video, get my license. Hopefully in January, we're trying to get that figured out. The thing, I haven't done the instructor driving, and we're gonna try and get the instructor driving done as soon as possible. David freaking beat me. I was trying to beat him because he has his birthday Christmas Day, and I have mine September 20th, so I should have beat him. I waited too long. So, yeah, David gets to drive around wherever he wants, and I still have to have my parents around to drive my missing lug nut Legacy around, I guess. So, things will start to look up soon. We'll get my license, we'll get the Legacy figured out, and it'll be good. Also, we're thinking of getting the windshield done sometime in January, too, because it definitely needs to be done, as it's very cracked. And we might do the sunroof around that time, but finding a sunroof for one of these things is pretty hard. So, I think you can get it from parts.subaru.com, but that's pretty expensive. So, goodbye.